So the meeting is being recorded for recording purposes. For recording purposes. I hope it is clear. Now, in case you don't see anything, that you can you just communicate. In case you don't see anything, you kindly communicate. Sawa. Thing hapo iko sawa kabisa. Mani alijust kidogo. Hapo. I think hapo iko sawa. Now open that question. Does you confirm? Can you hear me? Unanisikia? Yes?
Yes.
Sawa. Kama mnanisikia, that's fine. That is okay. Now, April 2022, question number 2A, that is question derived from advanced MA past paper. And I have said I have shared with you the advanced MA past paper, those who in intermediate level. So it's the same concept. Let us see what that one required, so that we can introduce now the rest of the items. Now we can introduce the rest of the other items. Now, someone to read for us April 2022. Question number 2A. Advanced MA. Someone? Nobody? Okay, let me read it. So this is what the question is saying. The question reads, Zine Ltd is a local manufacturer three product, namely X, Y, and Z. The management of the company is unhappy with a certain production mix and is seeking advice on the most optimal arrangement. The current production is 10,000 units, 5,000, and 6,000. So that is the current. That is the current. Next, the management has provided the following information relating to the three products. So we have the details of the product, selling price per unit, direct material, variable overhead. We also been given information number 1, labor cost of each has been provided there. Number 2, the limiting factor. Now there is a shortage of labor in department 2. No, department 2 forms the limiting or the key factor. So the department 2 forms the limiting factor. Fixed overhead is budgeted to 5,000 per annum. I expect to remain constant. A recent market survey disclosed that the maximum sales potential for the company is 500, 7,000, and 8,000. Number 1, required advise the management of Zinc Ltd on the most profitable production mix and optimal profit using limiting factor. Now, limiting factor is the optimum. You see that the limiting factor method is also called the optimal product mix. This is also called the optimal product mix. It's called the optimal product mix. That is what the first one that we talked about it yesterday. Now we start with the steps. What is the step number one? Step number one. What did you say was step number one? From the our formula, we need to compute. Number one, we compute gross profit margin. Two steps. Because step number one, we need to compute contribution margin per unit. Contribution margin per unit. Now we have three products. We have three products as I can see. We have X. We have X. We have Y and Z. Now we start with the selling price per unit. Our selling price per unit from the question we can see it is 1200. We have 2000 and then 2250. Then we are supposed to less variable cost per unit. Variable cost per unit. The first one I can see we have direct material as our first one, which we have 300, 900, and we have 600. Direct labor. Now direct labor we need to compute it. Now we go to information number one. Information number one relates to direct labor. Now for department one, so we have the department. Now we can start with department one, which you can say that for labor rate per hour for the labor. So rate per hour for the labor is 20 for department one. So tunasema for X ni 3. So for X, tunasema X ni 3 times 20 plus department 2, 40 times 1 plus 30 times 5. So inatupatia labor cost for X. Now we can go for labor cost for Y. Unaona Y kuna 4 units, one going for 20. Then you have 2.5 units going for 40. Then we have 7 units going for 30. Imagine ZD. So kwa ZD pale juu tukianza kwa ZD, you have 6 units for department 1 going for 20 bob. Then you have for department 2 the 4 units going at 40. Then 9 going for 30. Now find those costs. Find those costs. So ya kwanza ni ngapi? Yes. Wait, that calculator. Unasema ni ngapi? Sorry. So unapata ngapi ya kwanza? 3 times 20 plus 40 times 1, 30 times 5. That is 250. Now this one is 250. Now 4 times 20, 2.5 times 40, 7 times 30. This one is 390. 390. 6 times 20, 4 times 40, 4 times 40, 9 times 30. This one is 550. Then you have the variable overhead. Variable overhead. Now, what's the variable overhead? From the question, wanatuambia variable overhead ni 250 for x, 250 for, not 250, 150. 150 for x, 150 for x, then 400, then for 50. So we have 150. $150, 400, and 450. Now let's find contribution per unit. Contribution margin per unit. Contribution margin per unit. Contribution margin per unit. Na itakuja ngapi ya kwanza? 1200 minus 300 minus 250 minus 150. Napata 500. 500. Haya ya pili 2000 minus 900 minus 390 minus 400. Mimi napata 310. 310. Can you get it 310? 250 minus 600 minus 550 minus 450. This one is 650. Now that's step number 1. Let us think about step number 2. Let us now think about step number 2. Step number 2, we need to determine the key factor unit. Key factor per unit. Key factor per unit. Now the good thing with this question, now if you go to the question, there's no need to calculate. We have already been given. Kama umepatiwa, for example, ungechukua that unit which is limited. For example, ni labor. We know it is labor. It's limited. So unachukua labor, you divide the cost per labor, utapata the unit. Now in this question, already walikuwa tushatupatia. Na ituambia ni which department? Here katikati, department 2. Remember this was department 1. This one was department 2. And this one was department 3. Now, every unit we were given. Now for X, we know it is 1. For Y, ni 2.5. Now for Z, ni 4. Now for Z, ni 4. So already we were given. Now that is information number 1. No information. That is information number 2. Information number 2 says there is a shortage of labor in department 2. There is a shortage of labor in department 2. Now, let's go to information 1. In addition information 1, we have 3 different departments. We have 1, 2, and 3. Now, for department 2, you already know that it is limited. And therefore, the unit per hour, we have been given as 1 for X, 2.5 for Y, and then 4 for Z. And here is the upper 1, 2.5 now 4. So we know it is 1, 2.5 now 4. Now, once we divide that one, we can now get the contribution margin per key factor. The contribution margin per key factor of the each product. Contribution margin per each factor. Contribution margin per each factor. Contribution margin per each factor. So contribution margin per each factor. So contribution margin per each factor. Now, what was the formula? Formula iko inaendaje? Contribution margin per each factor. Margin per each factor. Remind me the formula. Contribution margin per each factor. And number 3. So contribution margin per unit per key factor. Per key factor. Now we said we will take the contribution divided by the key factor. So upon the 500. We don't need this one. Already we have it. So contribution margin niandikie hapa kidogo. Ni change kidogo. Pen ya black sipendi sana. Like I say, contribution margin per unit per key factor. Now we say we take contribution per unit, we divide with the key factor unit. You divide with key factor unit. So let's go contribution margin per unit, divide with the key factor unit. Itakuwa ni 500 over 1, which is 500 return divided by 2.5. Return divided by 2.5. So return divided by 2.5. This is 120. 124. 124. Aya, ngapi hiyo? 650. 650 divided by 4. 650 divided by 4. You 162.5. Now let us rank. Let us rank. Let us rank. Now, rank number 4. You are supposed to rank. We are supposed to rank. Now, this one is number 1 because 500 is more, followed by 2 Z, then number 3 Y. So those are the ranking. Those are the ranking. Now, once we rank, now we can come up with a schedule, the optimal schedule. So tunaanza na rank. So we have 1. So rank, we have 1, 2, and 3. Then our product. Our product, we can see we have the first rank is X. The second product is the day. Then Y. Haya, hiyo ni ya kwanza, tumemaliza hivyo. Inaonekana? Now, tunasema we are coming up with the schedule for ranking. So the first thing we come up with the rank, then the product, then the maximum demand. From the question, what's the maximum demand? Now from the question, it is clear that our maximum demand is information number, the last information number 4. Information number 4. Information number 4, which is 12,500, 75, na 8,000. Now tuanze na X. X ni 12,500. 12,500. ZD ni 80,000. 80,000. Then 7,500. Then 7,500. Imetoka kwa laini na mniambie. Wacha niwarudishie kidogo. Hapo. Think hapo iko sawa. I think hapo iko sawa. Now, that is ranking. Now, tukisha determine the demand, then the key factor per unit. Key factor. Kama inaonekana. Key factor per unit. Now, there is hapa. For X, ilikuwa ni 1. Ilikuwa ni 1. For ZD, ilikuwa ni 4. Then for Y, ni 2.5. 2.5. Required hours, because it goes with hours. Now I multiply E times C. So 12,500 times 1, that will be equal to 12,500. 80,000 times 2 times 4, I mean. So 80,000 times 4. 80,000 times 4 is 32,000. Then 7,500 times 2.5 is 18,750. Now available hours. Now let us calculate here. Let's compute here available hours. So let me compute here available hours. Now available hours goes with the actual or the capacity that we can that is available at the moment. Now the capacity available at the moment, pale juu tukianza kwa swali pale juu anasema Zinc Ltd is a local manufacturing producing product namely X, Y, and Z. The management of the company is unhappy with the current production mix and is seeking advice on the most optimal arrangement. The current production is 10,000. So we have 10,000. So we want to know total available hours. 10,000 units times, so it's 1,000 for Z, for X, which is 1 unit per hour. For Y, Y requires how many units? Y requires 5,000 units. 5,000 units. At which price per unit? Per hour. So units per hour, 2.5. Then we add the last one, which is 6,000 times 4. 6,000 times 4. Now, what will be the total available hours? Total available hours. Yun available hours, give hapa. Save space. So that hiyo tuiweke. Now what is the available hours from that part? Now tukichukua calculator yetu itakupatia 10,000 times 1 plus 5,000 times 2.5, 6,000 times 4, 46. 46,500. That is the available hours here. I think I another color. The available. Let me put it with another color because this one is where everything ends. 46,500. Now, do you have a shortfall? Do you have a shortfall? If you add all this, let us add. You see if you have a shortfall. Now required. That's if you have a shortfall. But obviously we have. Tunachukua 12,500 hours plus 32,000 hours plus 18,750. So what is the total hours? 18,750. Uh-huh. Seven finje. Mesema required hours tunachukua 12,500 plus 32,000 plus 18. Finje. Now hiyo ni ngapi? Come on to tell us. Yes, Benedict. Ukiacha zote za kuja ngapi?
63,000.
Yes, Benedict. When you add all together, how much? Yes, Jim. Inakuja 63 to 50. Now let's compute the shortfall. Shortfall. It was not a requirement anyway. Now the shortfall, we require to reduce to 50, but the available is 46,500. Meaning we have a deficit of how much? How much is the deficit? Yes. Yes, Benedict. What is the benefit?
16,750.
Yes, 16,750 hours. Now we don't have this. So that one is our deficit in our case. Now we have available 46,500. Now we allocate the first one according to ranking. So we allocate the hours according to ranking. Now let us allocate that one, 12,500. Now we have 46,500. We have 46,500. Let's allocate 12,500. Tutabaki na ngapi? So tulikuwa na 46,500. To allocate 12,500. Tutabaki na 34,000. 34,000 units. 34,000 hours. Now 34,000 hours, let us allocate 32,000. Tutabaki na ngapi? We allocate this 32,000. Land number 2. We allocate 32,000. Tutabaki na ngapi? Na 2,000 hours. Now 2,000 hours, we allocate 18,750. Can we allocate? Meaning we cannot undertake this because the only hours remaining to do product Y need only 2,000, but it requires 18,000 hours. But we only have 2,000. So out of 18,770 to 18,750, we only do 2,000 only. Now, let us see the units available now. Units. Now the units that we can produce with those hours available. Now units. Now for units, now 12 hours divided by 1 unit. So 12,500 divided by 1 unit. We can do 12,500 units. So 12,000 hours divided by 1 unit. we shall get 12,000 units. This one, we have 32, we have allocated all the 32,000 divided by 4. We can do all the 8,000 units. We can do all the 8,000 units. So this one. Now the last one, we don't have this labor hours. How many remaining? Only 2,000. Now out of this, we can only use 2,000 hours. We can only use 2,000. Now, what will be the units here? The one is that remaining labor hours divided by 2.5. So 2,000 divided by 2.5. So we can only do 800 units. So 800 units. 800 units. Now that's the optimal mix. So kuja sema hapa optimal mix tunasema x is 12,500 ZA is 8,000, then y. So that is the optimal mix. That is the optimal mix. Now, number next, what was the requirement? Required, advise the management of the most profitable mix and the optimal profit. Now, we also need to determine the optimal profit. Do you remember how to determine optimal profit? Do you remember? We use our optimal mix. We use our optimal mix. So itakuja ngapi? Itakuja ngapi? Let us see. So optimal profit. So for to get optimal profit, we start with the contribution. Now contribution. So we have 12,500 units. We multiply with contribution margin. For X, which is 500. ZA, 80,000. 80,000. ZA is 650. Y, 800 times 310. Now give me the answer. Then we can less fixed cost. Let us less our fixed cost from the question. Now from the question, what is our fixed cost? Our fixed cost, information number 3. Information number 3. We can see that fixed cost is 5 million. 5 million. 5 million. Now we can get our net. We can get our net profit. What's our net profit? Now tunasema 12,500 times 500 plus. So your contribution, when you get contribution, unachukua contribution margin per unit, you multiply with the units. Plus 8,000 times 650, 800 times 310. So 800 times Kanyare, nakupatia ngapi? So 800 multiply with Kanyare, nakupa hiyo. Then na minus 5 million. This one is 66, 98. That one is all about part A, limiting factor. So that's how you are supposed to do the part A, the limiting factor. That's how you are supposed to do part A, which is all about the limiting factor. The answer, not the marks, is 8 marks for limiting factor. Now, any question before we go to the requirement part B, which is anasema throughput accounting. Any question, Jane? Yes, Jane?
Sina.
Yeah, that one is okay. Who is Kevin? Aman Palma.
It is Zach. I'm using that account.
Oh, no worry. Now, nani? Palma leo yuko. So, now let us move to limiting. But let us move to limiting factor. Let us move to not limiting. Throughput. Now, the requirement also required us to do. Vivian, kuna swali? Nani anasema kuna swali?
Kuna swali.
Yes.
Ni mimi. Na ile yenye ilikuwa outsourced 2000.
Kwa swali kuna mambo ya outsourcing. Which information are you
Na
reading? Yes. Which question? Yeah, in outsourcing. Yenye kwa outsourcing ni tufanya intermediate jana. So hapa hakuna outsource. Wanatuambia if they any deficit wana outsource from anywhere. We have not been told. Na tutapatia the cost of outsourcing. Hiyo kwa sawa. So hii inaisha tu hapo. No cost of relating to outsourcing. Fine. Yes, Lilian.
Niko sawa.
Yes, compare this question and refanya jana kwamba intermediate. Then you spot the difference. So ya jana ilikuwa na mambo na the cost of outsourcing outside in case you have a deficit. Now in this case, wajatuambia if they are going to outsource anything from outside from the deficit. So kama wajatuambia, now the fixed cost remain at 5 million the way it is. It will not change. Now let's go to number B, throughput accounting. Throughput accounting. Now, what did you say about the throughput accounting? What is the idea behind it? Now, part B, that is the throughput accounting. Now, what is the idea behind it? Someone remind us the idea behind throughput accounting. Someone to tell us.
We only let direct material cost.
So it uses the material cost as the only variable cost. Sivyo? So it uses variable cost. Is material cost is the only variable cost in this case. So material cost is the only variable cost. So material cost is the only variable cost. So tunasema material cost is the only cost which is regarded as variable cost. As variable cost. Now we start with the step number 1 kama kawaida, contribution margin per unit. So contribution margin per unit. Contribution margin per unit. contribution margin per unit. How do you get it? Now we have said that under this method, we only consider material cost as the only variable cost. Now step number 1, kama kawaida, tunafuata tu the procedure. Contribution margin per unit. Contribution margin per unit. Contribution margin per unit. Now we have three products. We have X, Y, and Z. Now, selling price per unit. Now we can say that it is 1200. 1200. Stock of 2000. And stock of 2250. Less direct material cost. Now we have said that material cost is the only cost which is regarded as variable cost. So direct material is the only cost under throughput which is regarded as the variable cost. Now let's see. What is our direct material? We have 300. Kuna 300. Kuna 900. Kuna 600. Now we can get our contribution margin per unit. So contribution margin per unit. 1200 minus 300. Hii wanatuambia kwamba mimi naona wanatuambia ni 900. 2000 minus 900 naona wanatuambia ati ni 1100. 2250 minus 600 naona wanasema ati ni 1650 from our calculator. Now if you use your calculator, you'll get those figures. Step number 2, talk about the key factor units. Now we check which item was limited. Now we know that the limited item is labor. So labor is limited, and to be specific, department 2 is one which is limited, and therefore it is 1, 2.5, now 4. So that's department 2. So you can say labor in department 2 is the one which is limited, so that we can find the unit, labor units. Now after that one, you can get contribution margin per unit per key factor units. So itakuwa ni 900 divided by 1, which inatupatia 900. Ndio ni 1100 divided by 2.5. So hii inatupatia ngapi? Wanasema ni 1100 divided by 2.5. Wanasema ni 440. Akimalizia mwisho 1650 divided by 4. Divided by 4 natuambia kwamba ni 412.5. Now we can do number 4. We can rank. Let us rank. Now we rank from the highest to the lowest. Now the highest ni huyu kama kawaida, number 1, number 2, and number 3. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. So we can come up with a table or our schedule. Remember our schedule? So we come up with our schedule and we say we start with the rank. We start with the rank. We only have 3 rank. 1, 2. Then you can chini kidogo. So we start with the rank where we have 1, 2, and 3. Then we can put our product. We have X unga ya chapati. That's number 1. Now hii imechange. Ukiangalia imechange. So, the previous one, number 2 ilikuwa ZA. Sasa number 2 ni Y. Then sasa ZA anakuwa mwisho round hii. Sasa ZA alikuwa number 2. Amekuja number 3. Kama hakusoma vizuri so akapitwa na Y. 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 Akapitwa na Y. Akapitwa na Y. Now tumalizie hapa sasa, nikukimbia. Tukishafika hapa swali imeisha. Labda kama uko na swali. Now product, after product we determine the maximum demand. Maximum demand. Now what is our maximum demand? It's the same kama kawaida. Remember our maximum demand. Now ilikuwa kwa pia swali yetu. Ilikuwa at 12,500 followed by what? 12,500. Haya. Huyu sasa itakuwa ni 7,500. Then the day ni 8,000. Hadi hapo tuko sawa? Hadi hapo tunaendelea vizuri? Yes. Yes, Kirumba. Unasemaje Chris? Ni Chris ama ni? Yes, what's your question?
I don't have a question.
Yes, Kirumba amesema ana swali. Tunaendelea. Now, key factor. The next thing is to factor in the key factors. We have it hapo juu. Tunaanza na X. X wametuambia ni 1. Y wametuambia ni 2.5. 2.5 power. Then ZA ni 4 units per hour. 4 units per hour. Now we can find the total required hours. Now hours required. Hours required. Now multiply 1200 times 1. That will be equal to 12,500. 7,500 times 2.5. 18. 750. Then this will be equal to 32,000. Available hours. Hours available. Hours available. Now tunaanza na hiyo available. Uko unapata ngapi in our previous is the same. So what are the available hours? If you pata no need to compute again because you already have the hours.
46,500.
36,500.
46.
46,500. We know 46,500. Now, where is allocate the first one from the 46,500? We allocate this one 12,500. We allocate tabaki na ngapi? Let's allocate 46,500. We allocate 12,500. Tutakuwa na ngapi? Tutabaki na 34,000. Baki na 34,000 hours. Now, To allocate 18,750 tutabaki na ngapi? Let us allocate 18,750 from that one, from 34,000. Tutabaki na 15,250. Now let us allocate this one. Now from this one, we can only allocate how much? We can only do 15 to 50. The rest of the hours we don't have. Now, out of 32,000 hours, we can only have available hours is 15 to 50. 15 to 50. Now this one, we consumed all our hours, and therefore 1200 divided by 1, how many units? So units. So itakuwa ni all the units itakuwa ni 12,500. So hours required by the units per hour itatupatia 12,000. This one tutatumia yote 8750 because we have allocated everything. Divided by 2.5 tutatumia 7,500 units. Now the last one, the only available hours we can use now, it is 15 to 50. We cannot use all the 32 because this one is what remained. So what remained is what we can use here. Now how much units? So 15. So to get this unit, itakuwa ni 15 to 50 divided with the cost per unit, which is 4. So itakuwa ngapi? 15 to 50. 15 to 50 divided by 4. Itakuwa 381, 38, 12. 38, 12, 25 units. 38, 12, 25 units. Now, let us go to the requirement. What's the requirement? Now, the requirement said that advise the management of Zine Ltd on the most profitable mix. Now, profitable mix, tuanze na hiyo kwanza. So, profitable mix is the optimal mix. Now, optimal mix. Now, X, we shall take out the 12,500 units. Y, 7,500. Then Z, 3812.5. Z, 3812.5. Now, apart from that one, what else they wanted us to, apart from optimal mix, wanasema advise the management of Zinc Ltd on the most profitable production mix and optimal profit. So number 2, let us find the optimal profit. Allow me to find it here. Now, optimal profits. We start with the contribution. Let us compute contribution. Let us compute contribution. I will determine it from this point. Then we break apart a Jew. I will compute it from this part. Then we move forward to the other part. Now, contribution. Itakuwa ni 12,500. And contribution margin per unit, we have it here 900. Next, we have Y. Next, we have Y. Y. We have Y. Right? Nimekata kuandika. Now, Y ni 1,100. Then Z, 3812.5 multiplied with 16 fringe. 16 fringe. Now, how much is the contribution? So 12,500 multiplied by 900, 7500, you multiply with 1100. Then 3812 38, 12.5, 1650. Wanasema ni 25 million 790 625. Tulete hapa 25 790 625. Now we less other costs. Less other cost. We can start with the fixed cost. We know that fixed cost in ngapi? It was 5 million. We can start with that one. Direct. Then another cost, we call it factory cost. Factory cost. The first unit 500. Now let us go to the question now. Let us go to the question now. Tuanze na variable. The variable of 150. 150. Variable overhead of 150. 7,500. 7,500. Hiyo ni ya 7,500 ni ya nani? Ni ya x. X variable ni ngapi? Not x, ni y. 400. 400 plus that 812.5 and 450. This one is the variable. The bracket up, wake up. Variable overhead. Variable. We say factory costs into bracket variable overhead. So inakuja ngapi? How much is that? Tunasema 12,500 plus 150, 7,500 times 400, 38, 12.5. For finye. Mimi napata 4 million 47 28 275. 47 28 275. Tumebakisha moja. Which one? Yes, yes. Yes, CJ. Which one is remaining? Which factory cost is remaining? One is remaining. Which one? Yes, CJ.
Labor cost.
Yes. Factory cost, but labor. Now, we also less factory cost. We use the labor. Now, so that we can find our net profit. Now, let's find the factory cost and the labor. Now, 12,500. What is the cost per unit? Kwa nimecompute kwa nyuma, mniambie juu sina nirefuta. Cost per labor for X. Yes. Yes, tulikuwa tunapata ngapi? Cost per labor. Kwa nimecompute hapo nyuma. Nirefuta. Ilikuwa nimeweka hiyo statement. Enda kwa statement yetu ya kwanza tulianza. Calculate contribution. Labor ilikuwa ngapi? Was it 250? Yes, Lilian.
Is it direct labor?
Ngapi?
250,
250.
390,
50. Next. Why? Because we got statement. I was say
390.
390. Haya, mwisho
550.
total. Now 12,500 multiply with 250. Then 500 you multiply with 390. 3812.5 multiply by 550. Hapa wanasema ati ni 8,146,875. 8,146,875. Now what's our profit? So 25,790, 625 minus 5 million. Minus 4728, 275,
I'm getting a different figure for
81,
under
46.
factored cost.
Napata ngapi?
Bro,
Eh,
hapo kwa factory
For factory cost, it's not 4 million, it's 6.
factory cost under which? Labor ama variable overhead.
variable
Nakuja ngapi?
6 million
6 million
590.
500
90.
hivyo.
625.
625.
6,590,625.
Haya, hata siwasikii jameni.
Sio 000 ni 625 mwisho.
Oh, 6.5 mwisho.
Mm.
So hapa itakuwa ni 65, 20, 625.
520 ama 590.
About 580, 6580,
90. 90.
6590.
Yes.
Wengine mna agree?
Iko sawa, iko
Wengine?
sawa.
Yes.
Iko sawa.
Now let us find the profit. 25, 790, 625, 5 million, 6590, 625, 8146, 875. Napata 6053 or 25. 6053, 6053, 125. Is that what you are getting from your side?
Yeah.
Now, letting it report ngapi? The first one.
$66.98.
6698.
Thousand.
Sawa, and then 6,900,000 na hii ingine is 6. Sawa, I think we have done the sawa. So that is that one is all about it. That one is all about it. So nothing more, nothing less.
Advice.
You want to give advice. Now, which one do you think is the most appropriate advice? We go with the limiting factor.
Big factor
Sindio?
because it has more profit.
Big limiting factor because it has the most profit. Sindio? You pick the limiting factor method because it has the most profits. Pick the limiting factor to pick the limiting factor because it has the most profit compared to throughput accounting. Compared to throughput accounting compared to food accounting. Now, let me work on my, I have an exam. Just allow me to stop from that point. Let me work on that exam because it is deadline on date 3. So let me just take a look on some concepts so that nikifanya mtihani usijasoma naisoma leo. Then Monday. So allow me to end the class at that point. To keep on doing what we are doing. Hopefully in the next 1.5 or 1 week, maybe by the end of the next week, we can, if things will allow. What we maliza in May, once in May na in May your intermediate, so that to back in your advanced FM. But the advanced FM ina mambo kwa sababu we have the main topics which tukishazikata vizuri, then you cannot worry about our failing. So allow me to end the class. So anyone with any question? Anyone with any question? Yes. Anyone with any question? As I'm planning to end the class. Yes, Kirumba. Kirumba, Charles. Kuna. Na wengine. Anyway, sawa, we can end the class. We meet we can meet on Monday now. I think that one will be appropriate for all of us.